to English class. Today we're going to be learning about nouns. So we're going to be talking about count nouns, which are also known as countable nouns, as well as uncountable nouns. So let's talk about the difference between those. So a countable noun is a noun that can be counted. So you can say a noun, 1, 2, 3. For example, pen, a pen, 1 pen, 2 pens, 3 pens. You can use a countable noun with singular or plural verbs. For example, if it's a singular verb, there is a book on the table. If it's a plural verb, there are 3 books on the table. We also have what are called uncountable nouns. These are nouns that cannot be counted. So sometimes we're going to use words like some or a lot. So these always take singular verbs. For example, there is some water in the glass. So, before we go into the countable and uncountable noun types, let's just review the basic types of nouns in general. So, first we have common nouns. A common noun is a word for a general person, place, or thing. All right. What are some examples? Book. So, a general book. Window. So these are going to be things, right? How about a person? You could say a teacher or a doctor. And we can also have a general place, a kitchen, or a park. So the reason these are common nouns is it's like any book, any teacher, any park, right? Then we have what we call proper nouns. Okay, what's a proper noun? Word for a specific, not general. So one that we already know. We know exactly what we're talking about. Person, place, or thing. So, how about a specific person? You could say Honey. It's not just a person, it's this person. Or it could be a celebrity. Cardi B. Not just any person, but this specific person, their name, right? It can also be a place, so a country, like France, or a city, like Seoul. Could also be a specific thing, for example, a newspaper, the New York Times. Notice that I didn't capitalize this the, and when the is used with a proper noun, it's usually lowercase actually. Alright, let's move into a different category. So next we have collectives. Collective nouns. So these are going to be singular words, but they're going to refer to groups. Refer to groups. And these can be either common or proper. So let me give an example. So a family would be a common noun. So it refers to a group because a family is usually more than one person. This could be a proper noun if you said the Smith family. Then it refers to a specific family by name. We can also say team. This would be a common collective noun. We could also have a proper collective noun. The Oakland A's. So that's a specific team. Okay, last category I'm going to visit is called abstract nouns. Okay, these are words for ideas or concepts. And what's special about these is they exist, but we can't touch, hear, see, taste, or smell them. They're an idea rather than a physical object. So what do I mean by that? Things like love, hate, honesty, freedom, joy. Okay, so let's highlight these. So we have our common nouns, proper nouns, collective nouns, or abstract nouns. Now, in terms of countable and uncountable nouns, generally common nouns can be both countable or uncountable. A lot of these I wrote right here are countable, like book, a book, but there are also common nouns that are uncountable, like cheese. And we'll come back to that. Proper nouns are generally just going to refer to one person, place, or thing. So they're usually not going to be countable because they're like they're their own category. Like you don't say one Cardi B. There is only one Cardi B, right? But there could be exceptions. For example, if you knew someone named Jenny and you knew more than one Jenny, you could say, I know two Jennys. It means you knew two people named Jenny. Okay, collective nouns are going to be kind of both. So some collective nouns, you could say two families, but there's other collective nouns that are uncountable, like, let's see, money. Money refers to like a lot of things kind of, but usually you just say, I have some money. We'll come back to that in a minute. And then abstract nouns are generally going to be uncountable. Usually say like love, hate by themselves. You don't count them. You don't say like one love, one hate. But we'll return to that in a second. Okay, so count nouns are going to be really simple. They can either be singular or plural. Count nouns and countable nouns are the same thing. And for singular nouns, you can use a and the or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For plural nouns, you can use a number. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will be for plural nouns. So 1 is just singular. You can use a number like 6. You can use the, or you can have no article. Sometimes you can use a quantity noun, quantity words, like a lot, few, some, but we're never going to use a or an with plural. So let's give some examples. So a cat or 10 cats. An orange, 2 oranges. So countable nouns are going to look like that. Okay. Now let's talk about uncountable nouns and break them down into some categories to make it easier to understand. So remember, with uncountable we cannot use a, an, or one. So no, don't do it. You can use quantity words, a little, a lot, some, and you can use the if it's like specific. I'll touch on that in a minute. And sometimes you just don't use any word before it or article. So let's talk about categories of uncountable nouns. So similar to abstract nouns, for some uncountable nouns it's going to be abstract feelings or ideas, right? So advice, information, love. So all the ones we mentioned before were also uncountable, but I'll rewrite some of them. Happiness, work. You can also have news. So remember, some of these are just going to be by themselves or with some, like I give you some information. That's an example using some. Happiness, I feel happiness. There's no article there. News, generally news, we refer to it as the news. There's just one concept of the news, so a lot of times we put the article the. Okay, another category of uncountable nouns is school subjects. So some of these things are going to be biology, psychology, writing, math. So when we talk about school subjects, we say I'm taking biology, I'm taking math. We're generally not going to say or we're never going to say I'm taking a biology or a math. So these are uncountable. We also have things composed of tiny parts. And these are going to be things like rice, salt, pepper, sand, snow. So generally you don't say I eat a rice, right? Like, because it almost has the feeling that you're eating one tiny grain of rice. So you say I'll have rice, or I'll have some rice. Same with salt, pepper, sand, snow, flour as well. We also, like, generally when we have drinks, we refer to them, they're uncountable. So water, tea, and I guess this is like because if you have a bowl full of water, you can't really separate it into parts, right? So you can't count it. One that's kind of interesting is coffee. Coffee is traditionally an uncountable noun, but these days, because you can go to Starbucks and order just like a latte, some people will say a coffee. So I'll put a sometimes. next to this. So you can say some coffee, you can say a coffee. These days it doesn't matter. Another category is going to be collective nouns, referring to things. So that's going to be like garbage. So I have some garbage in my garbage can. It's not a garbage, right? It's referring to the whole, all the pieces of garbage together. Clothing. Let's see. Money. Talked about that before, so now you can say I have $1. But you don't say I have a money, you say I have some money. Homework. Makeup. So what's interesting about these words actually is if you want to talk about these in terms of their individual, there's certain words we use to talk about one section of these things. So for example, you could say a piece of garbage, a homework assignment, makeup, well, you would refer to the type of makeup, so an eyeshadow palette. Same, you could say a glass of water or a bowl of rice. So we have these words that we can measure these uncountable nouns in to divide them into pieces, but we'll talk about that in a second. We also have uncountable food items, and these are generally food items that don't come in pieces. Like you wouldn't eat the whole thing at once, if that makes sense. So for example, bread, you're not going to eat like the whole loaf of bread at once. Cheese, you probably won't eat the whole block of cheese at once. Butter, I hope you don't eat the whole stick of butter at once. We also have some things that are sort of groupings, like pasta. Pasta could also be in this category because it's made of little pieces, right? As well as fruit just refers to general fruit. If you want to refer to a specific fruit, you would say the name of it, like a banana. But if you're just talking about fruit, any fruit, it's some fruit. Okay. Couple more categories. We have like minerals and metals are uncountable. For example, gold, silver, iron, and liquids and gases. So this is similar to drinks, right? Because you can't divide these things up easily unless you put them in a container, right? So we have air, fog, soup, water, oil, right? So you could have a cup of water, but water itself is not easy to divide without a container. So it becomes an uncountable noun. Okay, now I just want to go over some of these measure words. So we have measure words that we can use to talk about quantities of uncountable nouns. So bag, bottle, bowl, box, bunch, can, cup, glass, loaf, piece, slice, spoon. Obviously this is not all the measure words, but just some examples. So you could say a bag of rice, a bottle of water, a bowl of soup, a box of pasta, a bunch of snow, a can of milk, I guess condensed milk comes in a can, a cup of tea, a glass of coffee, a loaf of bread, piece of bread or a slice of bread. These all can talk about bread. And piece and slice can talk about cheese. A spoon of honey. Okay, good job. So, what I want to do now is some practice. Let's look at this worksheet. I did the first 10. So, we want to decide if it's a count or a non-count noun. Okay? So, advice. This is going to be a non-count noun. It's an abstract noun. Program is countable. It's like a TV program. You can have a program. News, as we went over before, is considered sort of abstract. So it's generally non-count. If you want to talk about like one piece of news you read, you could say an article, like a news article or a news story. Necklace. Can you have 2 necklaces? Yeah. So it's countable. Color. 1 color, 2 colors. That's countable. Orange. So this is referring to the fruit, not the color. If it was the color, it would be an adjective. But if it's the fruit, it's a noun and it's countable. Email is countable. Hope. This is another abstract feeling, so it's not countable. Ring is going to be countable. You can have more than 1 ring. And file is going to be countable. You can have more than 1 file. So what I want you to do now is take a screenshot of this, and this will be your homework. So try this and bring it back to class, and next class we will go over this homework and we'll do some more practice for part 2 of nouns. Alright, thank you. Good job.